What's up, everyone? I'm back. I know it's been a couple weeks, but I've been busy playing music and that sort of stuff. So sorry, all my YouTuber fans have been dying to hear from me again. And my last comic book review video, ENIAC issue one, actually got a comment by Matt Kent, the guy who wrote it. Superstar writer Matt Kent actually watched my video and commented on it. So you know what that means? My dear friend Matt Kent endorsed me right here, at the risk of sounding a little arrogant and dramatic, but I'm basically the greatest comic book reviewer ever on YouTube. So please go check it out. Awesome stuff. I can't believe Matt Kent heard my voice. My voice is so dumb. I hear my voice and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I sound like. I think everyone is like that. So that's pretty cool. That it's Matt Kent. He's a superstar in the comic world, but that was cool enough to be like, oh wow, that's really cool. He just said something like, "Hey, glad you liked it," and I was like, "Yeah, cool." But anyway, so on to this comic review. We got America Chavez, made in the USA. America Chavez, I don't know, I basically know nothing about her. She was made by what was her name? Gabby Rivera, and she just had her short stint at Marvel doing America Chavez, I think, and then she pieced out. And but now they brought her back in this. I think this is going to be a 5-issue limited series. This was supposed to come out a year ago, but it was one of the comics that totally ate it when COVID hit. So we're finally getting it now. I only know about it because of, and this is the very reason why I got it, because we got Carlos Gomez doing the art, and I follow Carlos Gomez on Instagram. I remember when he posted his design work, some pictures of him drawing America Chavez. He was doing what he does best. He's made her look absolutely beautiful, very well endowed, and hourglass shape. And the people you'd expect to complain about it complained, and then but the people who actually matter, the customers, fans like me, were like, oh man, this looks great. I can't wait. It looks cool. And so here we go. I actually got this for my wife. I'm fighting an uphill battle here, folks, trying to get my wife into comic books. And the big two, they're not really giving me a lot to work with. I'm gonna get her into comics. I want to do it, with big two. Okay, America Chavez. Here we go. Here's our chance. The last book I actually got her into that I was winning the battle was Amazing Mary Jane, which was Carlos Gomez, and because it's all about the art. To me, the art is the most important thing. I love these pictures. They look cool. They gotta look great. And Carlos Gomez is it. I am really digging that he is somehow getting away with drawing women beautiful. Because I know in modern day comics at Marvel that's not really allowed anymore. But Carlos Gomez and a few other rare exceptions have been flying under the radar and making the women look beautiful, and that's just great. So, getting right into this. Once again, I know nothing about her. Got this creative team, and since modern day comics has brought back segregation, we got to have, pretty much Latino people doing writing, drawing. Carlos Gomez, coloring. It's kind of weird, but it's whatever. That's the modern day comics world we live in now. So I'm going in totally vanilla. I don't know anything about America Chavez except from what I hear. She gets mad and she punches things really hard. So pretty great character, loads and loads of layers there. From what I gather, she's from another dimension, and she punches things and it makes a star. I think she can teleport through the star or something. I don't know. She's a superhero. She can fly, super strength. So the typical generic powers. Got Kalinda Vasquez writing. I don't know who she is. This might be her first gig, so we'll see how good she does. Going in totally vanilla. Opens up with some flashback scenes, going over her origin. Then getting right to the action in classic issue one style. And a really good shot of her flying toward you right there. Reminds me of my first Carlos Gomez comic, which is definitely my favorite Cyclops comic ever, Uncanny X-Men Annual from a couple of years ago. And really good backgrounds, very dynamic of the whoosh type stuff, very kinetic. So you get the feel that she's flying toward you. Very colorful, a lot of fun. Her and Kate Bishop teaming up having total girl power moment and fighting these giant moles. I'm like, all right, that's cool. It's wacky, but that's what I'm into. I like this wacky type stuff. But the whole time I'm thinking, I like this part right here where she just straight up punches that mole on the head. Doesn't do what I think she was expecting it to do, and it's kind of just a bonk moment. Whenever I see someone get punched in the head, the sound effect that comes to mind is always bonk. And but they're kind of getting tossed around by the moles. I kept thinking this book needs Marv Wolfman. Marv Wolfman would have, if he wrote this book, it would have been like 10 out of 10. It would have been the best thing ever. There's a reason why in the 80s Teen Titans was like the best-selling comic at DC by like ×4. And it's because this stuff is his specialty. Fun, fast, also great character work. And I just would have loved to see a creative team like Wolfman and Perez do something like this. So really good stuff. I don't know how Kate Bishop is flying through the air. Maybe she's midair jumping off the bus that mole just wrecked. But then the pacing gets interrupted by this annoying reporter girl who's with the, I think, school newspaper. She's kind of bothering America Chavez, making her kind of talk in the middle of the fight. Really random. And I'm just thinking like get her out of here. This is dangerous, So kind of non-superheroic to instead be enabling her and actually answering her questions instead of rushing her to safety along with everyone else. And America Chavez seems to have a lot of attitude in her. So I think she would seem like the kind of person to be like, hey, you need to get out of here. Stop bothering me. I'll answer your questions later, something like that. So it was kind of took me out with how unthreatened by the impending doom of giant moles attacking her school was not phasing this blue-haired reporter girl. But anyway, I'll move on from there. Get some more flashback stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then we go back to present day, and then the thread is gone. I'm like, what happened to the moles? So they're just... Kate Bishop has this line, where's your number one fan? Oh, she's talking about the reporter. And she says, just in time. Think that was the last of them. I was like, I would have really loved to see how you dispatched said threat. Then we turn the page, and it's not the end of them anyway. A whole ton of more moles, giant moles pop out of the ground, and we get the introduction to this character, Ramon. This is where I started getting really confused. Who's this person? And I say person because I honestly can't tell if that's a dude or a chick. And so America Chavez, I don't know if she's a lesbian or something. They mentioned she's dating someone named Ramon. Obviously, Ramon is a boy's name. And except, as we can see, Ramon has boobs. So I'm like, what is happening? I was like, I started second guessing myself. And I said, like, is Ramon also a girl's name? So I'm just really confused. But I have no idea who this person is. Super big lack of context there. And then, I'm just going to call her she because it looks like a woman. So she starts pummeling the moles, and then America Chavez, for some reason, is able to also pummel the moles until they send her flying again. And she passes out. And, a little more flashback scene of her when she was a little girl. Really, really great art being taken in by the very, very caring family. And then she wakes up from her memory. And there's Ramon again, sitting on her bed with her right here. Don't know if you can tell. It's like that. That is a dude face. Right in this panel, that's the face of a man. But then it's like, that is the body of a woman. I don't know what you're trying to do, Marvel. You'd probably call me the ignorant one, but it's like, I'm really confused, It's like, this is weird. So Ramon, the boyfriend or girlfriend of America Chavez, is just sitting on the bed, cupping her cheek. They're clearly romantically involved. And right there, face of a woman again. So I don't know. Take it for what you will. I wish the comic would just get it clear to me or something. That's all I ask. Is just be clear. And right there again, it's like, look, that is the face of a girl. She actually looks very good right here. There's a good. Not artists don't really typically get into comics to draw characters sitting. But that looks great. That looks great. I love her hunching forward like that, listening. The expressions on their face. Uh, Also, America Chavez did not skip leg day because every day is leg day, people. And they're pretty much going over her troubles and the things on her mind. And which is the typical stuff you get when you have young superheroes. That stuff. Once again, I'm really into Wolfman and Perez's Titans. So, that's good stuff. And then really good shot right there. Like that solar flare going kind of across her face. And gets a message. There's some kind of, oh yeah, they're in California, I think. So then she sees on her phone that there's some force field in New York at the building that her family lives at. And so she's like, oh, I need to peace out of here and go over to New York. She teleports through one of her stars that she makes. I'm like, what? So is that what they do? I thought she kept trying to punch the moles and use her star powers on them, but then she's teleporting through them. So another thing I'm not clear on is how her powers are used. They float around her as she is floating. So when she flies, I imagine these star designs to be around her, which could be very cool. If you use it in the right way. She goes up to the force field. A little more flashback there. Blah blah blah. And then she tries to fly over it, I think, and then her powers, she's kind of having a Spider-Man 2 moment where her powers are failing her, lands in the dumpster. Speaking of Spider-Man 2, what? We get the reveal that Spider-Man is in this issue. It's like they knew I was going to read it. I'm like, yeah, Spider-Man, that's the kind of stuff. Rushing to team up with Spider-Man in the first issue, I'm like, okay, but he's the perfect team-up superhero. He's awesome like that. And so, but I wasn't crazy about his introduction. I like this panel here that he finds her in the dumpster and she's got a banana on her head and he kind of starts teasing her already as Spider-Man would do. But hey, at least the dumpster broke your fall. Added bonus, it's not on fire. She says, isn't this further uptown than you usually go? Because everyone knows Spider-Man is from Queens. And then he says, I go where I'm needed. Boom. That should have ended right there. But then he just kind of started rambling. And he starts rambling and she goes, you come by your rep as a chatty Kathy, honestly. Can we do less Kathy, more Avenger? And I'm just like, dang. Spider-Man, he kind of gets written in a lot of modern comics now as a joke. He's jokey. He's always been jokey. And but for some reason in a lot of modern comics, the writers like to kind of like to punk him by making him not respected amongst other superheroes. And it's like, this is Spider-Man. I know she's from another dimension, but just the weight of having Spider-Man around you, that means something. I mean, that's why he's in this book right now. I particularly like it when Spider-Man isn't necessarily a mentor to other heroes, especially younger heroes, but he is great all the time as an example for someone that they can aspire to be to, because he's someone that they don't know about his Peter Parker life, all his problems and his stuff that he's always dealing with. They know him as Spider-Man. He's like the best you can be. He's a selfless, heroic person. It's like, yeah, that's why superheroes, they love this guy. So really, really annoying to me when she is acting annoyed. And I thought it was just a super cool line of him just saying, I go where I'm needed. And then it should have just stopped right there, basically. Also, gonna have to detract from Carlos Gomez here for making them basically the same size. In fact, I would even say America Chavez's legs are more impressive than Spider-Man's. Spider-Man's arms very skinny. He just really drew Spider-Man to be small. We could get a perspective of the depth a lot better if you draw Spider-Man to having superhero body. So along with modern day comics of making Spider-Man kind of a joke, and a lot of other heroes will be having a conversation, not paying attention to him or talking over him, just in general not respecting him. And on top of this, you're going to make him smaller. You're going to make him the same size as the superhero that should be respecting him. Not a good way to introduce Spider-Man. Not a big deal in this comic, but it bothered me as a big Spider-Man fan. But anyway, gonna keep going on here. So then Spider-Man and America Chavez figure out how to get past the dome, but then turns out America Chavez could just punch through it anyway. So there she goes, doing that thing that she does, punching through it, making a star thing. Right there, my wife let out an audible, "That's lame." But apparently that's her thing, you know? So then here, oh my gosh, here it is again. So they go in and make their little battle plan here. She says, "I'll try to find whatever is generating this thing and shut it down. You," and he finishes her sentence, "handle the evac on it." And I'm like, that should have been flipped. That should have been flipped, the dialogue. Not necessarily the tasks, like Spider-Man can handle evac, sure, but like America Chavez ordering Spider-Man around was really weird to me. Especially if she doesn't know him too well. Spider-Man, I think, who's even if he's in the wrong, will come in there being very headstrong, and he'd be the one to say, "Hey, you go find the thing, generating the shield and shut it down. I'll handle evac." And she'll be like, "Oh, you don't tell me what to do." It's like you can have clashing personalities. Spider-Man doesn't have to be a pushover. But anyway, America Chavez sees that the building that her family lives in is on fire. Her family is still in there. She rushes in there. Very good panel here. The glass flying toward you. Really good artwork with the fire. Very chaotic. Everything's starting to feel very claustrophobic. That kind of stuff, that's technique that artists take a long time to master and get down sometimes. So she starts rushing to punch her way out from the top of the burning building. Really good shot right there. Flies out and grabs. She sees a water tower. I love it when they do this kind of stuff. She grabs the whole thing and flies over there, which must have been heavy. So her power of flight must be, nothing to spit at for sure. And dumps the whole thing into the building and extinguishes the fire. That was awesome. Right here, you pretty much get the one time where you get the villain shot. Can't really see the villain, but I'm just guessing that that's it. Superhero landing, pow, right there, looking great, and family is safe. Yeah, I think that's her little nephew right there, and then her mom gives her this letter from, I guess, the villain. That person right there says, "You should keep a closer eye on your family, America." And then she has this little thought bubble. This is going to be so much fun, knowing that this is a personal attack. So whoever this is has a personal vendetta against America Chavez. And then that is the end. There's another pretty boring Sarah Pacelli cover. Anyway, so that was it. All right, so that was okay. It was salvageable. It was pretty good as far as issue ones go, I guess. Would I recommend it? I'd recommend it if you like beautiful drawn women. Carlos Gomez art is definitely the winner here. But yeah, somebody needs to call Marv, especially for that Spider-Man dialogue, and because something else Marv is really good at is relationships between other heroes. That was all Teen Titans was you knew all the characters and the characteristics of all the heroes on the team. You knew how they acted and responded to one another. So he would have had a field day with that Spider-Man meeting America Chavez. That'd have been really cool. Something else I wanted to talk about too, if you can see in this video, don't know if you can tell, of this ink rubbing off. The thing about Marvel Comics, DC doesn't do this. They have better paper for their covers, but Marvel, for some reason, uses the same paper on their covers as their interior pages. Super, super cheap, really cheap ink. I don't get this problem with like the more expensive, or not expensive, but the books you wouldn't want to do this to, like Amazing Spider-Man and Immortal Hulk and stuff. But on the B-listers, the flood the shelf stuff like this, the ink is really cheap. It rubs off. Drives me crazy. I don't even care. If it was a better cover, then I'd care more. But I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just holding it, the natural oils in your finger just rubs off the ink, makes little creases and little splotches on the cover. drives me crazy. But the comic itself, the pacing was really good. The art was fantastic. Like I said, it was the real winner here, and or more like we're the real winner for having Carlos Gomez back doing his thing. But big detractor was that I was confused for basically the whole thing. The whole time I was I was kind of distracted by how confused I was, and things were just happening to America. She didn't make anything happen, but I guess that might be an issue one trope. So uh, because the villain is doing this on purpose to her, so we'll see how she's going to handle this threat now that she knows that it's there. And yes, so we'll see how the next one goes. I'll definitely be back for issue two. So yeah, America Chavez, Made in the USA, issue one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.